You see, Nathan, you know this is a matter that is very dear to my heart.
I know. But the minister didn't mention your name.
No, Nathan, wait. You see, our attempt to.
Charlie, Barry, on a lighter note, just imagine if in the thing he went to mention our names. I'm just saying, just imagine. Then he spoke and he said that, and the people as well, especially those two gentlemen, Raymond and ever since this matter, Charlie, like me, but they're screaming, my bank agent.
You see, Nathan, what I want Ghanaians
to
understand. Nathan, what I want Ghanaians to understand is that.
Yeah.
Neequaye mentions agenda.
Yes.
Machinations, witch hunts.
Yes.
Schemes against him.
Yes.
But I want the good people of Ghana to understand that on the day of the passing of the Nigerian boxer, all of us, every single person who watched the video, thought it was a boxing accident. All of us thought something had gone wrong. It was just one of those days where a boxer unfortunately lost his life.
Yes.
Just like a footballer would drop on a pitch and die, you know, those unfortunate things. Those were the thoughts of a lot of Ghanaians.
Yes.
When we sat on this show, all of us asked that there should be an inquiry of a sort. Let us find out what happened to the Nigerian boxer.
Yes.
If people didn't do their work well, let's find a way to deal with them.
Yes.
If the boxer passed away because of health conditions that obviously nothing can be done about,
yes,
it's a boxing accident, we'll accept it, and we'll move on.
Yes.
Those were the calls we were making until the Nigerians started screaming. What were the Nigerians saying? The Nigerians said, look, our boxer came to Ghana to fight on the 28th of March.
Yes.
We gave him a release letter to fight on the 28th of March. That fight did not happen.
SportyFM.
Our boxer should not have been in the ring on the 29th of March.
Yes.
The good people of Ghana, the GBA and the sports ministry should come and explain why their boxer fought on the 29th and lost his life. The Nigerians again alleged that their boxer was on his way to Nigeria. He had gotten to Aflau, only to be asked to come back to fight on the 29th.
Yes.
According to the Nigerians, there was no proper medicals done for the boxer before he went into the ring on the 29th.
Yes.
And so, in their own words, the GBA were negligent.
Yes.
Nathan, true or false?
True.
These were the words of the Nigerians. We spoke to Dr. Oladipo.
Yes.
We spoke to Aboderi.
Yes. And we spoke to Mohammed Amin Lamsi.
Very good.
Mohammed Amin Lamsi was the first person we spoke to.
Very well.
To get an understanding of what happened.
Very well.
Now, it was from his answers that we started to hear a few things. Then we spoke with the Nigerians for... we wanted to find out what they knew. And then, Ray, as you rightly said, they started to give us more details that certain things were not done as they should have been. In regular boxing practice, certain things are done. Those things did not happen. So they wanted to know why. And they wanted answers.
Yes. So, Nathan, the Nigerians starting to ask questions. And in fact, even listening to the account of the Punch, who had spoken to a few Q members, raised issues of something being missing in all of this.
Yes.
Or something having gone wrong in all of this.
Yes.
To the extent that it had even reached a stage where it was going to heighten diplomatic tension.
Yes. Potentially. Yes.
So, the sports minister, having just come into office,
SportyFM.
hearing of all of these things, had to ascertain the truth. And indeed, Nathan, when we spoke to the sports minister the first time,
Yes.
he said, well, he has spoken to the GBA. He has heard the account of the Nigerians. He doesn't know the truth. If he has to ascertain the truth of this matter,
Exactly.
he would have to find a way to have his own investigations done.
Yes.
Nathan, the matter didn't die there. It kept brewing. So if you are the minister responsible for the sector, what will you do?
You look into it.
So the minister set up a committee to look into this matter. Now, this committee had a clear mandate, clear terms of reference, determine the circumstances leading to the death of the Nigerian boxer Gabriel Oluwasegun Olarinwaju at the Bukum Boxing Arena on the 29th of March. Determine whether organizers or promoters of the boxing match took adequate steps by international standards to prevent the death of the boxer.
Very good.
3, to determine whether the licensing authorities in Nigeria acted with due diligence and followed procedure in allowing their boxer to accept an international match in Accra according to his qualification and experience. 4, examine the conduct of all officials, singular and collective, and recommend sanctions where such conduct does not meet acceptable standards. 5, recommend any changes in technical and medical procedures necessary to ensure total safety in the noble art of self-defense. And 6, to consider any other matter relevant to the terms set down in the matter hearing and make appropriate recommendations to enhance the image of boxing and safeguard the interest and safety of all participants.
SportyFM.
If a minister sets up a committee with these terms of reference, how should anybody sit somewhere? How would anybody sit somewhere? How would anybody sit somewhere and think that the minister has an agenda against the person? So it is more of a witch hunt. It is more of personal vendetta. What is the minister's interest in all of this? Does the minister know Olarinwaju? No, Nathan. Does the minister know Gabriel? Do you know Gabriel? All of us don't know him. But we all know he's a Nigerian boxer who died doing what he loved. And there were issues post his death. And so, there ought to have been an investigation.
Of course.
If Mr. Neequaye had personal issues with anybody and felt that those issues had been brought into this matter, no, Mr. Neequaye, you are wrong. Mr. Neequaye is getting it wrong. Clearly, he has not read or he did not read the terms of reference of the committee. Indeed, when the committee sat and spoke to all the witnesses that came, all the witnesses had something to do with what happened on fight night. Whether they were promoters, whether they were administrators, whether they were nurses or doctors, whether they were in charge of promoting the IMAX boxing and all, everybody had a role to play. Mr. Neequaye, as GBA president, was invited to the committee. When he went to that committee, Nathan, his arrogance, his disrespect to the committee members, he went to the committee and told the committee that the committee that was constituted by the minister had people sitting on that committee who knew nothing about boxing and did not have the right to ask him questions about boxing. And that was the conduct of the GBA president.
And that opinion was reinforced in an interview he granted to us. Those same sentiments were expressed in the interview he granted to us. He kept saying that people were there asking questions, that effectively he just, as you said, he said some people were there who had no right to ask him the questions because they were not as knowledgeable as he was.
That was his behavior, his conduct at the committee. When you ask Neequaye questions about what happened, he was abrasive. He was not interested in answering questions because he felt he knew boxing more than the people asking him questions. And this was a committee that was chaired by Major Retired Amaka Amatefio.
Yep, His Excellency.
His Excellency. Peter Zuenes, former Vice President of the GBA.
Yep.
Eko Asma, a senior journalist. Sami Bartels, a senior journalist and a regulatory lawyer. Eddie Papu, an international boxing judge, and who is currently, who has been with the African Boxing Union. Dr. Martin Engman, a specialist in public health. Mrs. Julia Adoyobo, a lawyer and a principal state attorney. Nathan, he said these people could not ask him questions. Some of them on that committee could not ask him questions. That was the conduct of the man who is accusing the minister of having an agenda. So even before Neequaye came before that committee, in his mind, the committee that was set up to investigate what happened that night had an agenda. That was Mr. Neequaye. Now, Nathan, let's go to what happened at the committee. If Mr. Neequaye believes that this is a witch hunt, the committee in its findings, okay, the committee in its findings, and if you quickly look at the work they did and the summary of what they did, the committee said, Nathan, it's not easy. The committee said the GBA, in its current state and shape, is not fit for purpose to handle boxing events. In its current shape, as it is, and let me get to that portion for you. The GBA, after a comprehensive review of the governance of professional boxing in Ghana, the committee concluded that the GBA, as presently constituted, cannot effectively organize, promote, or administer affairs of professional boxing in Ghana. The GBA, the report did not single out Neequaye. The report said the GBA, in its current form and state, with Neequaye as chairman or president, as constituted, cannot effectively organize, promote, or administer the affairs of professional boxing in Ghana. That was what the committee said. And the committee said that GBA's license should immediately be withheld by the NSA and its finances comprehensively audited. Nathan, let us listen to what Mr. Neequaye said yesterday. After, at that press conference, when he went after the sports minister, went after the NSA boss, and claimed that they did not have the right to set aside the GBA and its operations. You see, Nathan, when we went to that committee, a lot of things were revealed. It was revealed that boxing bout that resulted in the death of Olarinwaju, and I want Ghanaians to listen and tell me if anybody is on a witch hunt or on a mission to chase somebody out. The matchmaker or promoter, Mr. Mubarak Yusuf Nano, at that committee, was asked about the 29th March fight between Mbanugu and Olarinwaju. The fight that got, unfortunately, the Nigerian boxer lost his life. The matchmaker said, originally, as part of the IMAX GBA League card, the IMAX GBA League card,
Okay.
which was the professional boxing bout that was supposed to have been organized that night. The fight between Jonathan Mbanugu,
AKA Power,
and Olarinwaju, aka Success, was not on the bill.
It was not on the bill.
It was not on the bill.
Okay.
That is the first one. Now, he, Mubarak, was informed
SportyFM, the voice of sports.
that the GBA president had approved the addition. So, on the Saturday, Mbanugu's manager requested that he adds that bout to the fight card. And he said no. But he was informed that the GBA president had approved the addition of the bout between Olarinwaju and Mbanugu. Now, Nathan, going into a bout, typically, as we know, you would have your 24-hour mandatory weigh-in and medicals. Okay? What we know is that when the Nigerian boxer traveled from Nigeria and landed in Ghana on the 26th, on the 27th, he had a weigh-in.
Okay.
And had a
SportyFM.
quasi-medical, where they checked his pulse, looked at his eye, and checked his blood pressure and all. Okay?
Yes.
For a fight that he was supposed to have been part of on the 28th,
yes.
that fight did not happen. The issue surrounding that fight not happening too is another matter for discussion. But on the 29th, when the boxer came back to fight again, there was no mandatory weighing, there was no mandatory medical that was done. And this is the account of the Nigerian trainer who came with him. This is the account of the Nigerians. He came with a trainer. And then the trainer said there was no other official weighing. Now, Nathan, The fight on the 29th, the boxers who took part in that fight did their official weigh-in plus medicals on the 28th. Mbanugu and Olarinwaju were not part.
SportyFM.
You understand?
Yeah.
Those who were supposed to fight, originally supposed to fight on 29th, they did their mandatory 24 hours on the 28th. Let's ask Mr. Neequaye, on that 28th, these two boxers he added late on, were they part of that weigh-in or that official medical that took place? The former one, were they part? No. So the trainer said that Olarinwaju's BP, blood pressure, his pulse, was checked 2 hours before the fight against Mbanugu.
Yes.
On the 29th of March.
Yes.
That was the only medical that was done by the person they claimed to be a doctor at ringside, who at the committee was identified
as a nurse.
Identified himself as a nurse.
Yes.
Who has been assisting the GBA for the past 2 years in the capacity of doctor. All of this, the GBA president has presided over. Okay? When mandatorily, you are supposed to have 2 ringside physicians. The GBA has comfortably masqueraded a nurse around the boxing ring as a doctor.
SportyFM.
This has been the work of Mr. Neequaye and his GBA. So let me ask, did the minister appoint that nurse to be by ringside for everybody to be calling him doctor? Was that the case? How is this an agenda against you, Mr. Neequaye, when clearly you have proven beyond reasonable doubt that you cannot organize things, you cannot organize a piss up in a brewery? How is this an agenda against you when you have clearly failed to comply with the basic things that you have to do as an administrator to ensure the safety of boxers who come and fight on every fight night? Nathan, Mr. Mbanugu's the fight that was added, he said the late inclusion was justified by the GBA president when he said costs were incurred to bring the Nigerian boxer to Ghana. So just put him on the bill. This is the account of Mubarak Yusuf before the committee.
Who is the promoter?
The promoter, the night of the fight, the 29th March fight.
Yeah.
Okay. When the guy says, when we asked him, he said no official weighing was conducted for the 2 late boxers that were added. He claims that vitals were checked, blood pressure, pulse, and heart rate. Vitals were taken in the evening of the 29th March in the GBA office. This is the account of Mr. Mubarak. Mubarak ushered the boxers in but did not stay. The GBA president was president doing the medical check. This was what he said. Okay. So all of these things happened on the night before the boxer died. The Nigerians kept asking, why did our boxer fight on 29th when we issued the release letter for 28th? Those were the questions they were asking. Now, Mr. Neequaye, if he had taken his time to pay attention to the issues that led to the formation of this committee, he would have understood that this is no witch hunt. This is no attempt to go after him, but this is an attempt to help sanitize the boxing space. Because indeed, Ghana boxing has taken a nosedive for the past few years. And during the tenure of Mr. Neequaye, he should point to one world champion that has come from the stables of the GBA ever since he's been in office. None. If Mr. Neequaye has produced a world champion for us, he should point that world champion to us. Ever since he started administering Ghana boxing. Consistently, what we've heard with regards to GBA has been their sudden interest or their consistent push or their consistent endorsement of atsi gbeeshie bouts at the Bukum Boxing Arena, where boxers go in to throw fights. Even in this testimony, in the testimony of Olarinwaju,
Yes.
that 28th March fight that didn't happen, the Nigerian boxer was asked to throw the fight. He was asked to lose to the Nigerian boxer, to the Ghanaian boxer, and he said no. He's a fighter. He was not going to agree. That was the cause of the disagreement. Of course, they put it down to the fact that he weighed in heavier than the boxer.
Yeah.
According to the trainer, they never saw Mbanugu's weight. Nathan, according to the trainer who came with the Nigerian boxer, he said they never saw Mbanugu weighing.
I see.
They do not even know the weight of Mbanugu that they claimed he was overweight. Or their boxer was overweight. They never saw it. But accusations was that, and Olarinwaju sent a message, which was brought in testimony, that he was asked to throw the fight. The fight didn't come on because he was asked to lose to the Ghanaian boxer.
And he said he would
He
not.
won't do it. Over the tenure of Neequaye, GBA has been synonymous with promoting atsi gbeeshie bouts.
SportyFM.
Go and throw the fight. Promoters build the boxing record of other boxers. They get them international bouts to go and fight. They get beaten well. Because really, they've never had any real test in the ring. That is the legacy, one of the biggest legacy Neequaye's administration would have left for Ghana boxing, or has left for Ghana boxing. So Nathan, if this space is this filthy, if this space is not as clean as you'd want it to be, if this space is resulting in us not getting the best out of the boxing talent we have, definitely it should get to a point where there will be reforms.
Yeah.
It should get to a point where we will want to sanitize the space. And if the key actors there are not pulling their weight, if the key actors, those who are supposed to preside over Ghana boxing, to make sure Ghana boxing gets to the next level, are not pulling their weight, but have their own agendas, have their own interests, and have their own idea of how boxing should be run, not according to international boxing standards, or not according to professional standards, why should they still stay in office?
This is SportyFM.
Why would anyone think that after all the things that have happened, after all what the things the GBA has done, why would anyone think that the sports minister is interested in removing somebody from office? When he has just recently, when he had just come into office, when he had just occupied the seat as sports minister, his first interest would be to go and remove the GBA president. Because of what? The people, there was a lot of noise about the GFA. The sports minister didn't remove the GFA people. Or he didn't set up any committee to investigate the GFA people, to have adverse findings about them, to trigger circumstances that they can be removed.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. He didn't do that with Ghana Athletics. He didn't target the Ghana Tennis Federation. It was only the Ghana Boxing Federation he targeted. Indeed, when he came, we had never heard anything about the sports minister and the GBA until Olarinwaju passed.
Yeah, that's true.
That was the only time whatever they were doing in Bukom came under the spotlight, came under massive scrutiny. And Nathan, really, until Olarinwaju died, whatever they were doing there, if it was not in compliance with the laws,
Nobody knew.
nobody knew. But once somebody died, that was the watershed moment for Ghana boxing. And Nathan, right after that, I told you, Ghana boxing will never be the same again. Because if proper reforms are supposed to be conducted in making sure we sanitize that space, some of the people who are there, like Neequaye and Co, will not stay in office. And it's indeed proved. And it's given everybody reason to believe that, indeed, he shouldn't be in the office. Yesterday, I heard Mr. Neequaye. And Mr. Neequaye was speaking about the fact that the NSA did not have the power to revoke his license. The sports minister did not have the right to take the steps they were taking. And warned the NSA boss to stay away from boxing. Let us listen to Mr. Neequaye. And I'll tell you where he's gotten it wrong.
After the minister had this report, he's supposed to give the GBA a copy. Why is it hiding the report? He's supposed to give the Nigeria Boxing Control a copy. Why is it hiding the report? He's supposed to give the report to the media. Why are you alone having the report and say you are going to do a reform? You understand? What are you people hiding at the ministry? The boxing family is bigger than you, the minister, and then you are unpowerful. You should stay away, should stay away from Ghana Boxing Authority. We are an autonomous body. We are not under him. It is the amateur, the Ghana Boxing Federation. They have never supported us in any way. And exactly when the Nigerian boxer came here to die, they never give us a 10 cedis. Both the NSA and then the Ministry of Youth and Sports. The minister told me he cannot work with me. For whatever reasons, I'm a politician and he's a politician. I'm leaving the sports that we can go back and fight because I don't want to use Ghana Boxing Authority to fight him. I said sports should be on its own and let politicians also fight. But they know what they have done. He and the National Sports Authority, they know what they have done. If they are honorable men, by this time they should be resigning. Yes.
You see, Nathan, Nathan, we are talking about honorable men here.
Oh, man.
We are talking about honorable men here. The sports minister who wants to sanitize the space, and the NSA boss who is supposed to invoke the regulations and make sure the license of the GBA is suspended until proper measures are taken to sanitize the boxing space, are not honorable men. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Neequaye is an honorable man who is calling for dishonorable men like the sports minister and the NSA who want to sanitize the boxing space to resign. Nathan, he says the GBA is autonomous.
Of all the things I heard yesterday, that was the strangest.
And there
is no sporting entity in Ghana. Listeners, let me tell you something. There is no sporting entity in Ghana that exists by itself. No sporting entity, not the GFA, not Athletics Ghana, not Ghana Badminton, not Ghana Basketball. None can exist if the NSA doesn't say you exist.
Yes. So Mr. Neequaye, if he's minded, he should go and look for the Sports Regulations 2023 LI 2477 and look for the powers of the NSA. Okay? He should go and look for the powers of the NSA and look for what gives him the license to operate the GBA. He should go back and check. If he hasn't read the rules, if he hasn't read the laws, he should advert himself. He should advert himself with the laws. It is clear. The Sports Regulations 2023 LI 2477. It is clear on what the regulations the NSA has to embark on to make sure every federation in this space comes under them. You see, it is because of convenience that the GFA would directly go to the sports ministry, or all the federations want to go to the sports ministry. Ideally, if the NSA want to use their powers,
nobody can go to the minister
except through the NSA. Yeah. And so, Jan Pofuanka has come in. I would entreat him to make sure he uses his regulations to work. If he's using the regulations to work, people like Neequaye will not get off the hook and tell the whole world that boxing is autonomous. You're autonomous, but you want government support. You're autonomous, but you are claiming you need support from the sports ministry. Go and ask him. The WBA and the GBA, the WBA, the IBO, the WBA, WBC, all those bodies. Why does he? How many of them have given him support? Financial support. Why does he get financial? Does he get financial support from them? Is the GBA an island on its own, or it's under the laws of a certain country? What law establishes that GBA as a professional sports body? Okay, so if Neequaye is living in his own world and thinks that the GBA is also existing in its own world, he should come back and read the laws of the country and read the NSA regulations, the regulations that establish the GBA, the Ghana Football Association, every other sport entity, and go and look at their powers. The NSA has the power to revoke the license of the GBA. Mr. Neequaye, that handing over he did yesterday, another laughable one. As if to say he was the one who was targeted, and so he's out of the way. So let the system continue with what we've seen happen with Ghana boxing. It is not going to happen. And per the recommendations of the committee, the GBA is supposed to be set aside. A competent body must be instituted to steer the affairs of Ghana boxing, until which, after the reforms, after the constitutions have been changed and amended, if necessary, after all the proper steps that have to be taken, proper database for boxers, make sure you have a qualified physician, make sure when it comes to fights, the promoters do everything they have to do in accordance with the law.
Yeah.
License of boxers are checked, medical checks for boxers are done to make sure all of these things that could cause issues in the ring are avoided. Until all those things are properly constituted, then they move on to hold elections for new GBA president to be chosen. That is what the committee has said should be done. If Mr. Neequaye is not interested in all of that, then clearly he doesn't want the best interest of boxing. If he's not happy that the space that he's presided over is being sanitized, then clearly he does not seek the interest of Ghana boxing. He should leave the minister. He should leave Jan Pofuanka, because clearly they are doing their work. They have no interest in who becomes GBA president or who runs GBA affairs. Even his own stakeholders, are not happy with him. His own stakeholders want to take custody of the GBA, but the right things will be done.
You've mentioned that. Yesterday, I got some very interesting info. Ray, you mentioned stakeholders.
Yes.
I got some very interesting info on the large amount of lawsuits against the current GBA.
SportyFM.
Headed by Mr. Neequaye.
And he's not bothered to speak about all of this.
Several players in the space are very upset. Some of them have taken matters to court. I know several boxing promoters who have taken the GBA to court over several matters. Breaches, breach of trust. You get what I mean?
Yes.
Like several different.
This same GBA.
Yes. This same GBA. Yes. Under Mr. Neequaye.
Nathan, my final appeal this morning will go to His Excellency the President. And if the President is listening to me, Mr. President, you have enjoyed a lot of goodwill over the last few weeks, over the last few months you've been in office. And it is true that you would appoint people who helped you come into power, into office, competent or not. Whether they are competent in that capacity to deliver for you, or whether you have other considerations and feel they can serve in a certain capacity. It is true. But Mr. President, as a matter of urgency, find the report that has been given to the sports minister. Read that report and reconsider that decision to appoint Mr. Abraham Neequaye to be a member of the governing board of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program. He's been appointed to the board. Mr. President, please, if you want people of substance, people of unquestionable integrity, people with a certain reputation as having been performers, or people who are able to organize things, people who are very good at leadership, and you need their input on a board like the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program,
NEIP, which is a very, very important.
Mr. President, please reconsider the decision to keep Neequaye on that board. After listening to him, and after reading all the things I've read, him preside over the GBA, Mr. President, this appointment, I'm sorry, this appointment, Mr. President, we beg you, reconsider your decision to appoint him to that board. Clearly, the good people of Ghana know that that would be one incompetent person on that committee. At least from what we've read, from what some of us have seen, from what we've seen the GBA do, Mr. President, please, you have appointed Mr. Neequaye onto the governing board of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program. It is true he helped you campaign, but Mr. President, people must know their level. Put people in places where they fit. Under the current circumstances,
No.
Mr. Neequaye doesn't fit into that board. If Mr. President is listening, if anybody is listening to me, should tell the President, this appointment is a no-no.
Not after everything.
Not after everything we've seen, not after everything we've heard, not after everything he's done. Please, Nathan, play his voice. Let's listen to him once again. And this is the man the President has given an appointment onto a board. Because he's a politician.
Mr. Which one do you want?
One he goes after sports minister in Yampo Franca.
Okay. Here it is.
After the minister had this report, he's supposed to give the GBA a copy. Why is it hiding the report? He's supposed to give the Nigeria Boxing Control a copy. Why is it hiding the report? He's supposed to give the report to the media. Why are you alone having the report and say you are going to do a reform? You understand? What are you people hiding at the ministry? The boxing family is bigger than you, the minister, and then you are unpowerful. You should stay away, should stay away from Ghana Boxing Authority. We are an autonomous body. We are not under him. It is the amateur, the Ghana Boxing Federation. They have never supported us in any way. And exactly when the Nigerian boxer came here to die, they never give us a 10 cedis. Both the NSA and then the Ministry of Youth and Sports. The minister told me he cannot work with me. For whatever reasons, I'm a politician and he's a politician. I'm leaving the sports that we can go back and fight because I don't want to use Ghana Boxing Authority to fight him. I said sports should be on its own and let politicians also fight. But they know what they have done. He and the National Sports Authority, they know what they have done. If they are honorable men, by this time they should be resigning. Yes.
So that,
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Honorable Abraham Neequaye, who the President has appointed to be to the governing board of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program. Mr. President, if this is the man you want to serve on that board, Mr. President,
no way.
no way. Mr. President, this appointment, Chief of Staff, this appointment, please reconsider this appointment. It is true, it's your party man. He worked for the party. But at this point, we want the best for the nation. And we want the best brains to occupy certain positions and deliver the reset agenda and deliver a better Ghana. Please, Mr. President, reconsider this appointment.